Hey everyone, it's another Compass Town Hall. We're back.
Notice we brought the Hawaii to you since you all can't go to Hawaii.
That was gonna be my joke this morning.
Oh man, seriously, you're gonna make the same joke?
Same joke, right? I'm not, and also not only am I bringing the Hawaii to you, I'm prophetically speaking about the NFL that we're gonna have football games this year somehow. So we're hoping and praying because dang it, we need something to cheer about.
Yeah, something to look forward to distract ourselves to.
I mean, some of us aren't looking forward to as amazing seasons as some of you. But I still rather watch my team champion itself into mediocrity than not. So anyway, so welcome. Glad to have you guys with us. People are still joining up. What's our current count? It's 37 participants. I think we had something of the 60 variety resign. Please don't resign. Join, say sign up. That's the word I'm looking for, sign up. So so a little fall off. You know, I think we need to up our game, honey. You know,
I know. We need like a dance routine or
theme song. Mary, can you work on it? We need theme music.
Yeah. So more people would sign up just for a theme song.
It's all about branding. I'm talking to my marketing people right here. It's all about branding.
All right. Well, we're vamping, giving people a minute more, and
Exactly.
I'm sure you guys are all basically muting us as we vamp.
Would you just get the heck on with it, Nessus? What's up with that? So no, it's that summer's, you know, here we are, we're about to hit summer, had to hit August, which, you know, when I was a kid meant summer was half over.
Nope.
Now it means like, you know, you got to go school shopping next week. It will.
Well, our kids went this week.
That's right.
They did some school shopping.
Or you have to do virtual school shopping. I don't know what virtual school shopping is. Maybe you buy virtual pants. I don't know. But you dress out your avatar. No, but it used to be that, you know, school shop would happen like the last week of August. Now it's like in July you're doing it. But
well, our daughter so far does get to go back to school. So Shasta County gets to go back to school. We're not on the watch list. And our daughter is literally shopping for masks. So she wants a cute mask that she can wear to school. So who thought a year ago that
the accessory du jour.
Yes, that the accessory every 16-year-old girl would want is a cute mask for school.
Exactly. You know, I guess something that's gonna make her eyes pop. I assume. I don't know that.
I was trying to give her ideas, and she's like, "No, Mom, that's not cool. That's not cool." I was like, "Okay."
What ideas did you think were not cool?
Well, I was, you know, like Disney has masks, and I was coming up with fun ideas, and she's like, "That's not cool. That's not cool." So I don't know what's gonna be a cool mask.
A matching Mickey Mouse ears combo might have been.
No. She's 16 going to high school. That's
so her Disney addiction is kind of becoming a closet Disney addiction.
No, she does a quiz. If you ever want to follow my daughter, she on Instagram does a Disney or Disney World or Disney movie.
It's kind of a Disneyland thing. We're more Disneyland effects.
No, but
now
every
she's
week,
branched out.
Yeah, every week she does a quiz and she grades the quizzes and she gives all her friends their score.
And how do we know this? Because she spends hours writing this thing, and half the questions she runs by Sadie and me. I've given her a few questions, and because you know I am good at trivia, and I kind of grew up in Disneyland, so I'm not the Disney nerd my sister is. Whoa, but I'm a close second, but maybe distant second. I'm the second. But either way, so I don't even know what Trinity's Instagram.
She has, I don't know. Trinity Ann, maybe? Trinity Bean. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm sure you don't.
If you really want to know, ask a lot of questions in the in the chat about how to find out what a Disney quiz is, and we'll get back to you on that. But be that as it may, she's not doing the Disney princess mask in high school. So,
no.
But she has. But even in Shasta County, where I think about less than 1,000th of a percentage of our population, it has positive infections in Shasta County. So Shasta County's been really blessed so far. The kids get to go to school, but there'll be no sport extracurriculars till at least December. Masks all day long. So precautions are still reigning.
Some social distancing rules about lunch.
Yeah, they're not going to let
lunch.
all 1,500 kids run around campus simultaneously. I think they're going to let more kids leave campus for.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's all going to work.
It'd be good-
Anyway,
good
we
for
can
Burger
get,
King.
we can get
So,
started now.
You think we're all here? Is everybody here? Raise your hand if you're not here. No.
Okay.
All right. Well, so far we're sitting at 58. That's a pretty good number.
Yeah, that's late comers will just miss all the good stuff.
That's right.
So we're going to go ahead and start with our 5 minutes of COVID. As you can see, we've changed our thing. As we said, our last one was our last COVID. So this is now, it's unfortunately just become a part of our world.
Yes.
Like we've all just had to adapt and creatively figure out life in this new world.
No longer the COVID-19, 19 minutes of COVID. It's no longer the COVID-19, the 19 pounds we all put on eating at home for 4 months. It's the COVID-5. And we're going to limit it to 5 minutes. And again, the reason we talk about this is because we're stuck with it for the future. So we want to make sure that you guys get a chance to hear what Sadie and I think about it, not because we have answers that you may not have already, but because since we're leading this company, we want to make sure you know what our attitude about the COVID pandemic is and how we're leading. Hi, Josh, and how we're leading. Teasing him because he's joined and his camera was on. So anyway, and he's gonna hear about that because his wife is the producer, so she's gonna give him all kinds of crap later, I'm sure. Anyway, so we just want to make sure you guys kind of know where we're at and how we're trying to guide this organization through these unprecedented times. So basically, I want to say again, thank you to all those of you who have been supportive of your clients and your operation in adapting the way we serve people who are vulnerable during this pandemic. We've made a lot of changes to our way we do things, and you guys have rolled with them fabulously. Thanks for, honestly, when you're SLS staff, when you're clocking in, that questionnaire you fill out before you enter into shift has been very valuable, and it's helped us to make sure that we can attest that we're keeping our clients, doing what we can to keep our clients safe. So far, we have only had company-wide 2 of our clients get positive for COVID. This is kind of going to be a bit of the good news, but it all kind of rolls together. And that's been really good. And the only one that was symptomatic, it wasn't that severe. So we've been really covered. Had a handful of staff test positive, literally a handful. Although we probably do 7 to 10 tests a week. So we really feel like as an organization.
I think it's more than that now.
Well, probably is.
I think it's probably 10 to 15 tests between all of our offices.
Company-wide per week. And so far, I think we've had now 6 on the outside staff test positive for coronavirus. And only 3 of them were symptomatic. And only one of them, it was more than a mild flu. And that one that was more than a mild flu was a severe flu-like symptom. So
no one so far has been hospitalized for COVID inside our organization.
And everybody's been able to come back to work within basically a 14-day period of time. So we just really felt like we have, in this environment, come out really, really well.
I think just to let you all know, one of the things we're doing that has become just a part of our organization is why Eric and I can kind of spout these things off and obviously not get them perfect, but do these statistics.
That's my memory. That's not.
Yeah, these are statistics from our brain. Is because each of our regional managers from every one of our offices sends us an update 3 times a week on their situations, and then if anyone has tested positive, they call Valerie, our HR manager, as well as Jen, our director of operations.
Right.
VP of operations. They call those 2 individuals, and we know within minutes. Within minutes, usually. We know.
Yeah.
So, so just so you know, we are treating it, of course, that seriously. And Eric and I personally are still involved at that level on a daily, weekly, hourly basis.
We still have
here inside of our organization.
Right. We still have a special command huddle meeting that we need to address all these issues, and so we really are keeping our eyes on that ball-shaped virus as much as we humanly can. That being said, just kind of want to tell you some of the overall context within California and how that still is impacting us, because we do get questions about what Compass is going to do related to this sort of stuff. Yeah, California, 36, last I heard 2 days ago, 36 of the counties are on the governor's watch list. and that was an increase over the
I
prior
heard
week.
was it 80? Is it 80% of California now is on the watch list?
80%. Oh, the statistic I heard is that 80% of children will not be able to attend public school in person on time. I think 95% of Californian citizens live in a county on the watch list.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, so it's we're there's still a lot of serious shelter in place pressure going on. If you look at the statistics, math, and honestly, I'm not a fan of the LA Times as a newspaper, but they have what I think the best data resource for coronavirus statistics in California. And and if you want to know facts, not just what people are spouting out there and their opinions on various media or social media sites, it's a great page to go to. If you're interested, I let the bounce out comments in the chat, and I can have the link to that page forwarded out. But it tracks the history within California of infections, it tracks the history of hospitalizations and deaths, sadly, and it compares it to the rest of the nation in various states. And it's really good information to help us have a good perspective about it. So now let me illustrate what I mean by this. Why I think this is important. Because it's important for us to keep our heads screwed on right during this continuing pandemic, this continuing season. Because we all remember it was supposed to be 2 weeks to suppress the curve. You know, remember that? That was the original.
That feels so naive now.
Right? Doesn't it?
We're just gonna.
2 weeks.
I remember them saying. I mean, I said these words. We'll know something in 2 weeks. We'll know about this in 2 weeks.
Nope.
No.
Well, we know it's bad. We knew that. We didn't know how bad even in 2 weeks, but we kind of really thought 2 weeks would suppress the curve, and so then we thought, the federal government money that was allocated, the trillions and trillions of dollars, it ends today. So we thought this would.
I know that felt like I was going to.
Before, no problem. We're going to beat this thing by then. Here it is still with us. So since it's surprisingly, honestly, taking much longer for us to deal with, not deal with totally, but have it be this kind of overriding reality, it's important for us to have a good perspective. And so that's why I like data. That's why I like facts, not just other people's opinions, because then you also get their emotions, and that affects your heart. So a couple of facts it's important to realize. Yes, California is having the consistently day after day highest positive tests in the country, and highest in our history as a state. And yeah, we yesterday I think had either yesterday or the day before had a record high number of deaths from coronavirus in a single day, and that's tragic. But if you look at those charts parallel to each other, the rate of infection is rapidly distancing the rate of even increased deaths. So just because we're having more and more people test positive, we're not having more and more people die. No ICU.
We are having the most people die,
but it's not the same pace.
In relationship
right.
to.
And remember, the whole thing about the shelter was to protect our hospitalization capacity. We wanted to make sure hospitals weren't going to have the meltdown that they saw in Italy or that they saw in some places in New York back in March. And we're way far away from that in California. So we still have plenty of supply when it comes to ICU beds. There are some individual hospitals that are hitting their ICU ceiling, but there's hospitals around them that they can transport patients to so patients can get the care that they need. Certainly not running out of ventilators, certainly not running out of that sort of stuff. Nobody wants to go to the hospital. I don't want anybody to get sick or go to the hospital or certainly wind up in ICU or worse. But the overall ability for us to manage the pain of this crisis, we're managing it well, and we're not getting to that kind of danger zone we're talking about. The other thing that I noticed on that LA Times page is they had these bar graphs that showed state numbers of deaths in each state from March 1 to yesterday, July 29. And the darker the color, the more deaths per day. And you look at New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts, those states back east that had it really bad when this whole thing started, they were super dark in May and April, where we are white because we weren't having many deaths at all. Well, now we've gone dark and because we're having more deaths. But those states that had all the deaths back then, which have opened up and are still open, by the way, are still not drifting back into dark. they're still seeing very few deaths. So it's a question that people are starting to ask is California having its second wave? Because you've heard some people say that, or are we really still having our first wave? It just took us 3 months to get to go through the wave.
Because of the shelter in place, because we did what we thought we needed to do to, so we actually did.
Because of two things. Because of shelter in place, yes.
Well, and because what we wanted to do was flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve, to buy ourselves time to ramp up our hospitalization resources, to learn more about it, to delay it from going crazy. But the other thing that happened is we did not in California have the massive travel influx from China, from Wuhan, China, that New York did. The Chinese government limited flights out of Wuhan internally in its nation in the first part of this year, but they did not limit flights to Italy, they did not limit flights to Europe, they did not limit flights to New York until the federal government shut those things down. So it's likely that contributed to Manhattan's blow up really quickly in ways that it didn't quite contribute here to California. So anyway, so there's a number of reasons, but all I'm trying to say is when I look at those charts, it looks to me like California is having the wave that back east had
in
March, not a second wave, because they had that back east wave, but now they've opened up. They've restaurants are open, bars are open in New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they
really?
are. Yeah, they are. Well, unless they closed them again. Honestly, the last 2 weeks, I was kind of on a media fast. I was cutting off the news media and social media. So New York may have closed bars in the last 2 weeks, and I wouldn't know. But they had open bars, and they had all the protests, they had all the public meetings, everybody else did, and they've done well since then. So I look at those things and I take encouragement from that if we continue to do what we're doing, we're going to get through this, and Southern California is going to survive. Northern California is not feeling the pain Southern California is, but which is tragic for SoCal, but hey, we'll take what we can get in NorCal, which is where Compass is located. So that's kind of my COVID update. Satan, I hear that. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask a regularly weird, totally different topic.
Oh, okay.
Totally different topic. I was going to ask, we're kind of choppy on our side. Are we choppy on your side? Are people saying we're choppy?
Any comments? No?
Okay. Hopefully we're not choppy. On our side, Eric and I are really slow, and then we go boop, 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 boop really fast. And so I was wondering if we were that way on other people's side.
So anyway, so all that stuff about code, that's just kind of some data points that we captured that help inform our leadership. We're still doing what we're going to do. We're still focused the way we're focused. Our policies aren't changing. Many of you, especially in counties where shelter in place is a heavy, heavy burden, you are wearing a mask on shift. God bless you for that. Certainly appreciate you doing what you can do to protect your clients. And continue, folks, when you're out in the community and then you have to go have contact with our clients, please be mindful of the fact that, pretty much every person with a disability in California who has contracted coronavirus got it from people coming into their home and bringing it. They didn't bring it to their staff. They brought it from their staff, have brought it to them. And that's group homes, that's facilities. And I think, and that's a minority of folks in SLS and ILS have contracted coronavirus, but when they did, it was almost clearly proven that they got it from people bringing it to them. So for those of you who are wearing masks to protect your staff, much, much, much gratitude to you for that.
And also gratitude for those of you who have, kind of done that assessment that we asked you to do and decided that you weren't well enough to go to work. Right. Because that's a couple different times we've had that happen where people said, I don't think I'm well enough to go to work. Turned out they were positive, but they had not been with the client for 5 or 6 days. And so we were able to, they protected the client. So continue to do those kinds of things, do that self-assessment, pay attention to your own body as well as making sure you're safe out in the community.
So, all right. Okay. So that again, where I started off this whole COVID-5, I'm sure the word 5, but sorry. But with some
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, I'm sure you didn't, dear. So that's with some of the good news that so far Compass is faring very, very, very well when it comes to the pandemic. So thank you for that. Other good news. So other good news I'll share about. Start with the state budget. State budget got passed, and I don't remember if we talked about this at our last town hall. But the really, really good news is we
We were protected.
We were protected. We were facing, they were threatening major cuts to our services,
Devastating cuts.
to our services, cuts that would have had a devastating impact on our cash flow. None of them happened, not a single one. So that we're going to face no financial hardship from in this next fiscal year, running from July 1 to June 30. If the federal government doesn't provide some sort of state funding, some state stimulus, they might revisit that, but we're still hoping that there will be a federal rescue package that will help the states. Furthermore, they kept the increase in our ILS department, which they were talking about doing. They talked about pulling it out. They didn't. So finally, we're going to get for the first time in probably 5 years an increase to our ILS funding. If those of you in ILS, we continue to increase our rates of pay in ILS without an increase in funding. And finally, we're going to get that back funding that we've been so desperately needing, and so we're thrilled for that. So that's good. So state of California is continuing to take care of its vulnerable population, their IDD community, and we appreciate that. Speaking of money, as a CFO, I live in that world. I'm the one who generates or reviews and approves all reports to that sort of stuff. I just want to let you know that Compass, in spite of all of the craziness, all the money we've spent on PPE, we spent like $50,000 this year. $50,000 on personal protective.
Oh, it's over that now.
Is that now?
That's what we spent in kind of one fell swoop.
In one fell swoop. We've gone over that. Yay! I mean, we typically spend around $5,000, maybe $10,000 max in a year on this sort of stuff, and so we've spent multiples of that. Overtime has been because of day program.
Biggest ever.
Biggest ever. Yeah. We're on track to spend $2 million this year on overtime, and that's almost a double of what we typically do, and that's because day programs are closed, and at the same time day programs closed, and we had to staff, we couldn't hire people.
Yeah.
So those of you who have been working hard have been killing yourself and earning overtime, but and even in spite of all those sorts of increases to our costs, we have done a great job of managing our costs, and Compass is still making it, and Compass is hitting its core goals, and I'm super proud of my team. Real great at not having a lot of waste, but also really good at continuing to work and do what we can do to make all this stuff pencil.
Some other good news is we are beginning to hire again. We have seen it at first. People were kind of not interested in applying for a job, scared of it, about it, but we've seen an increase in our ability to hire. So if you're one of the ones that have really stepped in a gap and covered for us, we super appreciate you. But we do have some relief coming, which is good. It's important.
New staff are
some of us need a breath. So
absolutely. So again, friends and family, keep those referrals coming. So financially and staffing wise, we're making it, which is, and we didn't know what was going to happen back in March. Two other little factoids: our Chico office is up and running.
In the middle of a pandemic.
That's right.
We've got an office up and running.
An office up and running in the middle of a pandemic. Little one-person office with Sherry out there. I don't know if you're watching, Sherry, but hi to you. And she's got her 5 or 6, 7. How many?
I think it's 6. Yeah.
Six SLS clients out in Chico that she's managing their cases for, and we're thrilled to be there. And we know there's a lot of demand for more SLS in Chico, so we expect that area to grow over time. So that's been cool. And as many of you may have heard, and we do have a sister agency out of Sacramento, Options in Supported Living, and the executive director, Melanie Anderson, she's leading her team there doing that, and they're part of our Compass family, and it's been fun getting to know them and helping them learn some of our systems as we learn some of their people, and we're just really thrilled to bring our strength to them. And I kind of sound like the Borg when I talk, you assimilate them and we'll add their uniqueness to our own. No, but it's just been a joy getting to know that community, and as we power through this pandemic, it'll be fun to see what happens out of all
It's
that.
been fun to have Melanie back too. She had to spend a few months working there while we were working on the process of having a sister organization. So that's been fun having her back and meeting with her more regularly and all that good stuff.
In the middle of a pandemic, Compass is growing.
Yeah.
In fact, this year Compass is going to grow by 40%. 40%, which is crazy in the middle of a pandemic.
If you're wondering how that happens, it really happened a couple different ways, but the number one way is an organization decided to give notice in February, and we brought on those clients like days before.
Yeah, we brought on 19 clients in the regional center. And then
in
Redwood
Redwood
Coast in the city of Ukiah, 19 clients in one day, basically. Or we actually started over the course of a handful of weeks, but boom, February 29, leap year was a leap day for that agency and for that office. I mean, and so when you have that big of an of a joining of people in your community, it really boosts your growth.
Yeah.
So
and you know, kudos to Michelle and her team.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
For making all that happen and then needing to head straight into a season of difficulty with COVID, and they're still figuring that out, of course, like we all are. So great job, RCRC.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we have some updates, and I'm gonna try to go through these pretty quickly because I want to say again, we're giving some updates. We have a little bit more information that we're going to share today. And if any of this stirs up a question for you, please send it to us and give us a chance to answer some of your questions, because we should have some time today. We only were given 4 questions from your list, from each of you. So we only have 4 questions to answer specifically, and then we'll head into any questions you want us to answer. All right, so we have this kind of a hodgepodge of updates, but we have a lot going on behind the scenes, and I want to just let you know about it. First of all, something that's not on this list I'm going to talk about first. In our QSP program, we are in the process of working on behind the scenes notes, direct service notes that will be inside of QSP. So in the next few months, we're still working behind the scenes. There's still a lot to work out, and then we got to practice with them, and we got to test them, and so you're not going to see it for a little bit longer in the field, but this will give us such an awesome opportunity. One of the things that I just kind of want to point out about these DSNs that will be really cool is you'll be able to say, hey, this is a really urgent or important note. You're going to click a little button, and then that note's going to go straight to your CF. So sometimes how it works now, we collect all of those direct service notes at the end of the month, and so we're combing through them, and sometimes we go, oh no, like 3 weeks ago this happened and we didn't know, or we comb through the notes and we start to see a pattern, but it's kind of like it's already turned into a mess, or those kinds of things. So this is going to give each of you in the field just a much more direct and convenient and quick way to get information to your CF, and then hopefully
really
for
cool.
us to be able to collaborate and cooperatively solve those problems.
You gotta let me talk about a couple of cool features.
Okay.
I can't not, because I'm super excited about this. First of all, I want to say props to Rhonda McGloshin, Jennifer Mazzotti, Jennifer Bowman, Zed Gill, and our engineer Guy Clark. They worked really hard that's kind of the core design team of it. They worked really hard and if I forgot somebody else who contributed powerfully, forgive me, but to put together a tool that will be easy to use on any tablet device, phone, if you use the client's tablet, if you use your phone, whatever, any tablet device, both iPhone or Apple devices or Android devices, be quick and simple. So not like it won't be a buggy deal. It won't be complicated to use. And it'll be something that you'll be able to use every single day. And it'll communicate results to management, to the CF every single day. And they'll know it's there. Getting away from the kind of not knowing what happened the previous month for the whole month. Now we'll have daily updates. We'll be able to run reports. We'll be able to watch trends. Like, for example, if one of your clients just gets in a funk and decides to not bathe for 5 days in a row and gets funky, instead of saying, hey, please help me out, I got a funky client, we'll be able to run reports that track days where they decline to bathe. We'll say, oh, client bathe. No bathing.
Yeah, what's going on? Let's all talk about it. Let's have a conversation.
Johnny, I see you're not liking the bathe. What's going on for you? And so we'll be able to do more support to both the staff in the home, but also help the client achieve their own goals. So I'm really super excited about that. It'll actually, honestly, the DSN will be a little shorter than what you're currently doing on paper. So it'll even be easier for you to fill out. So it's just got a lot of really cool features. And
it's customizable as well.
Yeah.
So if you and the staff, if the team decides, hey, we would need to be able to talk about this or follow up on this, or I need to know if the other staff did the same thing. There's some customizable features so people can.
Different clients can have different DSNs, basically.
Mhm.
So
Well, right now we just have one standard form. So that will just give us a lot more opportunity to customize it, personalize it towards the client.
that's right. And if you try to leave, if you forget to do your DSN, when you go to clock out, it'll remind you, you forgot to do your DSN. So you won't ever have to have somebody calling back and say, hey, I need you to fill out these 5 DSNs that you didn't fill out this month. You'll know every time you clock out. So that'll help you and it'll help the team. So we're really excited about it.
Right.
Can't wait.
So the other things that I want to make sure we talk about is that we have started a new process. So one of the difficulties of the seasons, you always have to look at what's happening around you. And sometimes if you can lean into the difficulty, you find something beautiful. And one of the difficulties we've been having, of course, is that we all can't see each other face to face. And so we had to do a lot more virtual meetings. And this opened up an opportunity for us to look at our hiring process and see if there is a way to make it more virtual, give people the opportunity to do some of the interviewing without driving. Because, in San Jose, you could drive 45 minutes to an hour to do an interview. And so this gives us the opportunity for in the convenience of their own home to do the interview. Well, this brought up one more thing that I've always wanted to do, which is better include our clients in the process. We always have this tension of making sure we manage client choice and giving clients opportunities, as well as the efficiency and effectiveness of hiring, because people don't want to just wait around for 6 months for a job. And so this opportunity has come out of adversity, out of difficulty, the opportunity for us to introduce our staff, our potential new staff, to our clients during the middle of the process instead of wait to the end or anything like that. So we're going to start in the month of August practicing. It's going to take us a few months to get this down, but we're practicing with what we're calling matching meetings. So, clients and staff, you're going to get more opportunities to see the potential staff coming into your home in what's a virtual matching meeting. So more information will be coming about that. I'm doing some trainings all this week about what I'm looking for, what I'm hoping we can accomplish, what our CFs are going to do to navigate these matching meetings, because each of them are going to be customized and have some personalization to the client. Some clients want to make sure they're super involved, and other clients don't want to be as involved in the process, and we want to make sure there's room for both in our process. So we're continually working on it. It will take us some time to get it, beautiful and perfect. Never be perfect, but we're going to keep working on it. So be patient with us. But if you have suggestions or ideas, please pass those along to your CF and to your supervisor, because we are really excited about the opportunity to have perhaps a better match from the beginning between our new staff and our clients. Some other virtual things that are happening in our world is Penn. So as many of you know, we have a process called Open. It's our training process. It usually takes about a month to complete. We've turned that into a virtual format, virtually overnight. We've turned it into and it's full. It's been full. And so we're actually going to be adding some more courses in. Supervisors, CFs, if you're interested in helping us out and participating in our virtual Penn process, we're looking for people to start in the month of August, and then to learn about it in the month of August, to start doing it in the month of September. We hope to open up a few more because we actually have people backlogged. We have about 40
Huge
people.
backlog.
40 to 50 people waiting to get into our Penn process due to what happened and that had to shut down and that we didn't have an answer for a few months. People need the training, and so we'll be doing our best. We have those going now, but we're going to do our best to get those up and even more going in the month of September. Management U is a process that we do for new management staff. So anyone in our case facilitator or ILSM position, as well as, of course, supervisor or any other position in ILS or SLS. We do this process where we take a week and we spend some time together and we talk about some really important topics. We do some strength finders, which is just one of my favorite. And we've unfortunately had to cancel that, but we've come up with a virtual way. I sent out a reminder this week saying, save the date. We're still figuring out. It looks like it's going to be a combination of some mornings, some 9 to noon mornings, and then some afternoons, 1 to 4 afternoons. So be looking for that. I'm going to get those on your calendars relatively soon so that you can work around those if you are a new manager. So again, this is if you have been stepped into a role in CF or ILSM in the past year.
Not just that. If you have any roles in the
team
company,
builders,
team builders, RMAs, if you have moved into an office position and you have not been through Management U, and you would know that because Management U historically has largely been me and Sadie, a lot of it. So if you've not sat through my time management training, if you've not sat through her mission, vision, values training,
No.
is that part of?
Sorry, I was trying to like tell you you're wrong, but
Okay,
not.
well, I could be wrong.
That's boot camp.
That's boot camp.
Management U is Aaron does Strength Finders.
That's right. Strength
Melanie does. So no, it's actually not very much.
You're right. This isn't very much you and me. That's right. Because I spend time in boot camp. You're
yeah.
right.
Rhonda does.
We do a lot of training at companies.
Rhonda does strategic thinking. Right. So. No, it's not a lot of Eric and I, but there will be some Eric and I in this training. Usually you do one day of kind of like
that's the culture day. That's the culture day.
Yes.
That's the culture day. Anywho, there are a lot of these trainings, and again, these are for managers or people in the office. So again, if you haven't had them or you haven't had the full week, make sure that the dates are on the calendar. You'll look for them. And if you're not sure, talk to your supervisor, because we don't want anybody to miss a training that they need to have. These are really important trainings, and that's why we're making them the priority to move to a virtual space before we're focused on Level Up or Boot Camp.
So Level Up has been asked a lot, so I'm saying it again, and it's hard for me to say every time, but I have to say that it is canceled for the rest of this year. We are coming with some alternatives, but they will not happen until 2021. There'll be a lot more information coming out about this. This is actually a little tiny piece of a really big project that we're working on in the next couple of months. Eric and I are going to be talking a lot. When we have a little bit more figured out, we'll be having more conversations around this, and I'm sure we'll bring it back to a town hall. But for now, so know that we have not forgotten, nor is it being neglected. It's all part of a devious plot that's happening in 2021.
Right.
But
I wouldn't call it devious plot. It's called
strategic plot. That's my cuteism.
Yeah, I know it's a strategic plot but just we know that many of you, one of the things that we're really proud of at Compass is our ladder, that there is a career path for people here, and we've had to put all that on kind of hold because of the pandemic, but we have not forgotten that. That's a core and a huge important thing for us, and we're working to rebuild it so we can do it.
All right. Coming up is Christmas Palooza. So we love our Christmas parties. We had some gorgeous ones last year, so much fun. But of course, that's just not we're using your crystal ball, but doesn't look safe to do a big Christmas party. So what we're doing is called Christmas Palooza, which is really each CF and ILSM is designing a socially distant, safe, creative Christmas event for themselves. And they're getting that information in by the end of this month, and we will be getting out information to each and every one of you about what is your unique Christmas event for this coming Christmas. And then we decided to go ahead and continue these town halls throughout the rest of the year. So those dates are coming out, and they're on the slideshow as well. So if you're interested in continuing to hang out with us and do town hall, those dates are there. If you look at a calendar, they make a lot of sense on a calendar. So
exactly. So yeah. So if you like them, make sure you show up. Okay. So we wanted to kind of give you all an update on some bigger picture Compass things as well. We have what's called a WIG, and if you've been with us for any length of time, you understand that WIG stands for Wildly Important Goal. It's a goal that's such a big deal, that's so important and so transformational or catalytic for good things in your organization that it becomes the only goal that everybody focuses on, talks about. Well, 2020, we had a WIG.
Just to give good news, in 2019 we had a WIG, we achieved it, and we've continued to work on it. It was our turnover rate right now is 24%.
Right. Our WIG last year was to have a company-wide turnover rate of 35%. He hit it 34 and change. Some counties were way better than that. Some counties were not as good as that, but as a company altogether, we hit the goal. This year, our turnover rate is below 24% year to date, which is just astounding. And I think that just shows that the people that work at Compass really do value what we do, and they see the joy of this job, even in the middle of a pandemic. But that being said, looking at 2020, we had a WIG. We actually had a WIG for SLS, and we had a WIG for ILS, because the programs are different, so you really can't have the same quantitative goal all the time. The WIG we had for ILS was that all ILS coaches would average 35 hours of paid time per week, whether that was billable hours, whether that was some training hours, or what have you, 35 hours of paid time per week. we had the SLS WIG, was that we were going to increase our staffing for the client to basically 4-to-1, like 4 staff per client. Well, then the pandemic hit, and that kind of blew up all kinds of stuff. So we've basically decided, as far as SLS goes, to kind of like call time and say farewell to the WIG, because it just doesn't make any sense. Especially then when we went to our circle models, we really, the more people you put in a home, the more potential risk you inject into the home in SLS. So we just decided that WIG didn't make sense in light of this unprecedented time.
So it's been officially postponed, canceled, I guess,
exactly.
for the year.
As far as ILS goes, it turned out that there was some confusion between the number of 35 hours per week and 32 hours per week. I won't bother explaining why there was confusion, but there was. So we just decided to go ahead and settle on 32 hours a week. But it is still the goal for this year that by December 31, if you will, all of our ILS coaches will be working an average of 32 hours a week. It's better for our clients. It's better for our coaches when they're working full-time hours. It's really hard to, and when your hours fluctuate from 15 to 30 a lot, which can happen in ILS, it's really hard to live on that money. So we want to get our ILS coaches a consistent livable wage, and that comes as basically by quantity.
And one of the things, so, many of you in our admin team know we kind of sent out a WIG newsletter. That will be coming back online next month. And when that comes back online, the SLS goal will go convert back to a turnover goal. So we're going to pick up 2019 because we all should continue to work on our goals. We are not picking up, quote unquote, the COA meetings, the Cadence of Accountability meetings that were happening weekly. Those are going to be postponed until 2021. So you won't have that weekly meeting be added to your life, but we will start having that in front of us again, that we are working on 2 things. We're working on the fact that we want to keep our turnover low, and working on the fact that we want to make sure that there's enough work for each of our ILS workers, which we understand is going to be a big project and continued work, as COVID has really affected ILS in a very dramatic way and really changed the way we have to do the service in a lot of ways. So, and we'll continue to do that as the pandemic continues. So we understand that that's a difficult goal for ILS, but we believe in you. We know you can do it. And so we'll put that back in front of us.
So that brings us then to 2021. We did just complete our annual strategic planning week, and we've got some fun stuff that we're thinking about and still going to continue to work towards for next year. And we will have a WIG that we're going to work on for the whole next year.
So it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Coming back.
But we've done, we wanted to give you that update for this year's WIG and let you know that process, that tool, those 4 disciplines of execution, we are not walking away from, because we're convinced that they work.
If you're interested in what we're talking about, and you're like, I don't know what this WIG and this COA and these strange words coming out of your mouth, the book is called 4DX, and it's 4 disciplines of execution. I believe we have it in our library. If we don't, we should, and we will start having it in our library. And so if you want to check it out, but if you want to read an entire book, you can go online and you Google it, and the concepts will come up. They're really fairly easy concepts.
And there's an abridged version that you can even listen to, an audiobook that kind of walks you the context, tells you some stories about how it all functions in the real world, and you can kind of get it. And we've done it now for a couple of years. We've found the results to be quite phenomenal of the process.
We've done strategic thinking, planning for, gosh, how many years now? 10 years, and it's really transformed our entire organization. This just ended up being one more tool in that toolbox. Yep. And those of you who remember the old scorecard, that's still around, and we'll be kind of giving an update on the scorecard as well here in the next couple months. Make sure that you guys are aware of how you're doing it, and the truth is we're doing amazing, even in light of everything that's happened. When you look at our goals, from one of the goals that I'm super proud of is we have a goal of 100% of all of our reviews happening on time. Employee reviews, because that's tied to people's getting an increase, as well as just getting feedback and having a conversation.
People need to know that they've done a good job.
And years ago, we were working on this goal and we couldn't even get to 50%. And then we've had quite a few changes, and then we've just all pressed into it. And this last month, even in the middle of a pandemic and everything going on, we were able to get 100% of our reviews turned in on time. So that means that people are meeting, they're getting their raise, it's all happening virtually for the most part. And that happened in the middle of the pandemic. So, I just props our
really
team.
proud of you guys.
Were so proud of you. This has been the most trying season of any of our lives, and you guys continue to just not only hold on to this very big concern and issue and make sure we're keeping people safe, but continue to work towards the things that will make our agency strong. So we really appreciate it. All right, now we're going to head into our question and answer time, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it pretty rapidly so we can hopefully have 10-ish minutes to answer any questions that you may have. So Anna asked about with the increase, she mentioned that increase that we've seen in California, will we be closing the offices again? So for those of you who don't know, we only have a few offices open and a few offices closed. And when offices are open, they're not open to the public. They're only open for appointments as well as for our staff to come and work in and out of them.
And staff are instructed to practice social distancing. If there's going to be a meeting, if they're in a meeting with people, they need to wear masks and be able to make sure everybody's 6 feet apart. So we have a lot of policies and procedures in place to reduce the likelihood of a spread if somebody is asymptomatic.
And each offices are doing that differently. And we're very respectful and knowledgeable that each of our offices is really choosing to have that look a little differently. And we're really leaving it up to each individual to figure out what feels safe and what feels good to them. If you're not feeling safe in your office, so if you're in an office, first of all, it's supposed to be closed to the public, open to us. The second thing is if you're in an office and it's really only still halftime. None of us are here all the time. But if you are not feeling safe or comfortable, you should talk to your RM and see what is a good plan, because we have some offices that are still not even open. So we have a spectrum out there, as we have a spectrum of offices and a spectrum of situations. So talk to your RM if you're wondering about your particular office, but we are not currently changing any of our offices open or our offices closed. Whatever already happened is what's happened.
If there is a massive spike in infections, and if the shelter in place reverts to back where it was in March for a county or for the state, we will obviously be revisiting that decision. But right now, we're kind of hanging out the way we have been hanging out for the last few weeks.
So, and Stan asked the question about, he'd asked a previous question. So Stan, I know that you're very interested in our mileage and our mileage tracker. Mileage has gone down pretty dramatically right now because most of us are not going places, but we do have the ability to track mileage in our QSP product. And it's just been that it didn't work for all regions, but it's actually a conversation that's come up recently. And I think we're looking at implementing that at some point. It's just it's complicated why we have it. It's one region could do it pretty easily, another region can't, just because of the way we get paid, the way that we have to track things. So it's, and actually some of the rules we have in place in certain regions. So sometimes our large agency really is very, very helpful to lend strength. I mean, when we had a fire here, East Bay and South Bay stepped in, were crazy helpful. But sometimes having a large agency does not lend its strength. So South Bay has just some different rules in place than, say, Far Northern does. And so we sometimes have to slow ourselves down to work with all regions. So kind of have, like I said, we get a lot of strength from being throughout the area like we are, and we can really lend our strength, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way because some people have things that are more complicated than other regions. So it is something we want to consider. Thanks for sharing a product with us. But we're pretty committed to our QSP since it's ours. And we'll continue to use that product, and we will look to see if there's a chance for us to implement the mileage tracker in the next 6 months. Like I said, it's complicated because each region doesn't function exactly the same way when it comes to mileage. All right, Sarah talked about the Christmas party palooza and making sure she had a good plan. I hope you had a chance to talk to your team about that. I'm sure that there's a chance for individuals to work with you because I know you're new to our organization, and this is a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big project. There's actually it's probably a decent check for each of you, essentially as a budget to work with. So I understand you want to do it right, so I appreciate that, and I'm sure your team can work with you to make sure you have a great plan for your particular clients and your region and party palooza, Christmas palooza. Greg,
Hi, Greg.
we talked to Greg between last meeting, and so got a good chance to meet Greg and answer some of his questions directly because he's an ambassador for Compass. He's an ambassador for who we are and what we do, and I really appreciate clients that want to step into that role. He asked a question about what makes us unique from other agencies and what qualities we look for in a caregiver. Greg, I think what makes us unique is I mean, not to be all sappy, but people like you, we have clients that get really engaged and invested, and we treat this as a big, giant community. And I know that not all SLS agencies want to see their organization that way, and that's cool. We can see it differently, but we see it as a community, and we see that we are stronger when we are diverse and when we are able to creatively solve problems together, both clients and staff and leadership and all that good stuff. So I think that's one of the things that makes us unique is that I know that you feel that you have had an opportunity to get 24-hour staffing because that's what you wanted. So you got to speak up and we listened. That's part of what makes us unique, but then also that you have the opportunity to be a part of a community. And I know, unfortunately, we didn't get to take our community retreats, but we're working on ways to bring those back in 2021. And we're going to be working on continuing to figure out how to be a community even when we have to be socially distant. And then what are we looking for in caregivers? We're looking for compassionate people. We actually have a little acronym that we do, and I'm going to have to look at Mary right now. Mary, what's our acronym?
CREW.
CREW. We're looking for compassionate. We're looking for reliable. We're looking for, what's the E? Uh-oh.
No. W
Experienced?
is, yes.
And then W is workability. Like, are they able to kind of work their schedule around our clients' lives? Because we need people, yes, everyone has their own life, but they need to figure out how to work it around the client's life. So compassionate, reliable, having great experience, and then workability, working their life around our clients' lives. So those are the 4 things that we're looking for, and each and every one of our new staff are graded on those 4 characteristics. All right. So,
Mary, we have a question.
do we have questions,
Got a
Mary?
comment and a question.
Comment?
Claudia in Far North tells us that there are 7 clients in Chico.
Thanks, Claudia. See,
7. We got fact checked by Claudia. Thank you, Claudia.
And then
7.
Hannah in Far North asks about the DSNs. Will staff members be able to view previous service notes to know what's going on?
Super important that was factored in. That was actually a
Absolutely.
challenge for us to figure out.
You'll be able to pull up a calendar and see every DSN in the current month. In fact, I think you can go back months and see it. You can see them on the phone. You can see them on a computer. And in fact, staff will be able to start a DSN, save the progress, and go back into it on that same shift and finish it on that shift. They don't have to do it all at the same time, which is actually best practice anyway, because if you're working a 24-hour shift, you should make notes throughout the day as appropriate. So yes.
Yep. So the answer is yes.
So yeah, good question. Tons of cool stuff are going to be involved in that process. The DSN is going to beta test, which means it's going to be live tested in a couple 3 weeks in one of our SLS hubs, and that's already been decided. So if you don't know if it's you, it's not you. It'll be super fun. We'll live test it. We'll get.
They've actually already gotten some training on it.
Yes, they have. They've already had training on it.
So you know who you
The
are.
supervisor of CF of record. Shh, I'm not telling you on purpose. I'm telling everybody else on purpose. But that beta test will let us know if the tool we've designed does not just works technically, like not bugs. That's alpha test stuff. The beta test says, do we like what we built?
Mhm.
And that'll be really fun. And if
Or did we have unintentional consequences? Sometimes when you design software, you think, oh, if A, B equals C, but sometimes A, B equals
C
S.
and D, and you didn't see D come, and you don't want D.
Yeah. So
So
I mean, I wouldn't say we're good at it, but we've been testing and
We've been learning.
designing software for a good solid 10 plus years now, and we're getting some things figured out. So it's going to go into beta mode, and hopefully we've gotten some of it figured out, and so then it will be released. Our goal is September, right?
Yes,
like
our goal is
for us to start practicing with it company wide in September.
absolutely.
So you will hear more about it next month as well.
That's right. Okay. All right. Any other questions, Mary? All right. That's it. Well, thanks, guys.
yeah, stay safe, and hopefully you get to figure out. Here's my one challenge to you is we are in this new season and it's getting to be a slog. So I challenge each and every one of you to come up with a way that you can creatively refill your soul in this season. You know, when we all started the season, we were like, I'm gonna watch every show on Netflix.
Yeah.
What a goal that was. I'm
Right.
just kidding. That's a dumb goal. That was your goal. You watch a lot of stupid stuff. But maybe you had a goal that you were going to learn a new language, and then, you know, kind of we all got in the middle of it. It got boring and it got hard and it got, and it just got long. And so I just encourage you to kind of take, every day can be a new day. So take a new day and come up with ways to creatively engage yourself and creatively engage your clients all over again. You know, for me personally, I actually, every month I pick a goal and I work on it and I put it on my mirror. So I'm looking at the season, and of course we're running a marathon together, but you do need to kind of figure out ways to refill your soul, because this is going to continue to be a long ride. So figure that out. Figure out how to fill yourself up and be creative tomorrow.
Social work is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And it's a marathon now, we have a little bit of headwind. But thankfully, we're a team. There's people alongside the race handing you waters to help keep cheering you on, help keep you hydrated, metaphorically speaking, and possibly literally speaking if you're sitting there and somebody's bringing you a glass of water. But either way, you know, take care of yourself, and we will overcome all these adversarial circumstances together.
Yeah. All right. So there's our challenge to you is figure out how to fill your soul for today, and then look for something to look forward to tomorrow. Those are our 2 little tidbits for you today. All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you again next time.